Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? It's Saturday morning, about 20 minutes after 7. Dogs woke me up earlier this morning, so I've been goofing around inside the house with some videos and whatnot. And was supposed to go canoeing today, but unfortunately, my daughter came home from school yesterday not feeling real well, and she's still in there sleeping. So my wife's in there, keeping an eye on her, taking care of her. I'm hoping it's just a 24-hour bug and she feels better, and then we can maybe go canoeing tomorrow. But I'm out in the shop. What I think I'm going to do is start on, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pins. I think I showed the wood in the video the other day. I'd like to get started on those pins today. And a buddy of mine, James Heater, is going to swing by the shop. He's in town visiting his daughter. I don't know exactly what time. He just said in the morning, but heck, it's 20 after 7. And with, unfortunately, my daughter being sick, I don't plan to go anywhere today. So if I don't forget, I'll try to shoot some footage while he's here. What else was I going to tell you? Man, let's see. Oh, and the fella at the shop, the furniture shop, told me we've been having trouble meeting up when we were at soccer practice the other day. And he told me that they're getting a new server, and he may have to go in today to do a little prep work for that. You know, get some stuff ready. He said if he did, he would call me, and then I can run over and get some scraps. So maybe do that. Maybe get to do that today, which would be great. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead, shut the camera off, and I'm going to kind of go through these blanks and try to decide, how I want to go about doing these pins. So I'll be back in touch, and we'll keep you updated on everything. Well, everybody, it's been a busy morning. I got my 4 blanks that I was working on today glued up. Let me show those to you. Here's the polyester resin with the brass filings. This is the manzanita. This is the spalted birch, and I've got the piece of sagebrush back here. This is going to be a modified mechanical pencil, so I'm pretty excited about that one. Also today, a buddy of mine, Jim Heater, he and his wife came by the shop. They hung out for about an hour. We just shot the breeze, talked about different things, and he bought me a few things. Let me show you what he brought. Lots and lots of little pieces of walnut, and there's some cherry and a little bit of oak in there. These would be great for segmenting or making pins. He brought me a piece of hickory. This is a piece of mahogany, African mahogany. And this is a piece of maple. And he used to work in a cabinet shop, and those are cutoffs from the cabinet shop. He also brought me a couple of other things. 3 pieces of corian, and this is a blank he turned. That is a resin, and those are chunks of deer antler in that resin. So keep an eye out. This one will be turned in a video very soon. While I'm letting the glue dry on my blanks, I think what I'm going to do is sidestep. I do have this blank to turn still, and I'll work on that shortly, but I think I'm going to sidestep for a bit, and I think I'm going to goof around with my table saw and see if I can figure out how to enclose it. I want to be able to get the dust collection going on it so that I can start using it. Now that I've got the new tabletop sled, I want to be using my saw, but I don't want to throw the dust all over the shop. I'm trying to keep it down as much as possible. So I think I'm going to work a little bit on dust collection here and see how far we can get on that. I'll keep you guys posted. Somebody just reminded me over on Instagram that I hadn't said anything about my secret project I've been working on. Let me show it to you. This is what I was working on. It's a little intarsia that I did for my wife. My wife loves bears, and her daddy was in the Navy, so I did a little Navy bear for her. And I did not film it because I was under a vicious time constraint to get this done by her birthday, and I did. I got it done, wrapped, and everything. So I'm really happy with that. But, I didn't want to say anything about it on the video because she does follow my social media, and I really wanted to surprise her, and it did, and she really likes it because, the whole aspect of 2 things she loves, her bear and her daddy. So this was a fun gift. So this is what I've been working on. Thanks for putting up with all the secret project stuff. Sometimes I have to do that because, she could come out to the shop, but I can always throw a towel or something over it and she won't see it. Those things take, I like doing intarsias, but they take a lot of time, and it took a lot of time away from turning pins and doing other things, but it was worth it because I don't like to shop. I do like to make gifts, and if my wife could have anything, she would rather me make her an intarsia than anything else, that she just absolutely loves it. So that went over really big. I got to get back to work. The pins are drying, and I need to get working on this table saw. This may not be a good idea. That was a heck of a job wrangling that table saw top off of that base. But now that I've got the base open, I think it'll be a little easier for me to work on what I want to do with dust collection at the bottom there. And then we'll get it reassembled once I get all that put together. A little bit of cleanup work to do. There was a lot of sawdust. Even though I vacuumed it out, there was a lot of sawdust still inside of there. And see where I got a little rust on my table a while back. When I put this back together, one of the things I want to do is clean this tabletop and get it conditioned and then get some wax back on it. And I have a couple of ideas. Laney Shaughnessy did a video a while back where he has the same exact table saw, and I want to say it was steel wool and WD-40. I'm not sure what he used to get it cleaned up, and then he got it all wiped down and waxed it up, and it made a huge difference on how easily things slid back and forth on the saw. I'm gonna get this dust collection done first, then we'll work on that. All right, let's see what happens. Hey everybody, been working on the saw. I'm making some good progress. Let me show you one thing first that I kind of knew was a problem because the wheel's been laying off for a while. But this little grommet, for lack of a better term, should be right here, and it broke off. It was that way when I got it, but luckily I got the wheel with that on it when I picked the saw up. I just need to find somebody who welds just to tack that baby right back in there. The other four wheels, or other three wheels, I'm sorry, are on there, and I tightened them all down. I just removed this so it'd be easier to take somewhere to get it welded up, but that's one issue I'm facing. I said that was one issue. That's actually the only issue I'm facing. The rest of it is coming together. Let me show you where I'm at. I removed the base from my saw to make this a little easier, and I just took, the dust collector was way smaller than the hole, so I just took some boards and I screwed them in from the top. And then the dust collector port is mounted to the bottom of this. I've got a nice flat surface, and I just put some of this, this is stuff you use on like air conditioning vents, ductwork. It's metallic tape, and I just did that to seal the cracks so that no dust goes out the bottom. Any dust that goes down will hopefully be pulled toward the hole for the dust collector. What needs to happen now is I'll get the saw mounted back on the base, and then we'll start. I need to seal up some of the holes in the saw, but I need to make sure that I don't seal up all the holes. Airtight's not good. There needs to be some airflow. And I think what I'm gonna do is leave small, like there's some small holes on the side where some of the attachments are. I'm gonna leave those open so air comes in from the side. I'm gonna leave a small hole on the back and the front so that I've got air from all four sides pulling in, and hopefully that air pulling in from all four sides will pull the dust down toward the dust collector. I mean, I'm going to get the majority of it. There'll still be some, inside the cabinet. And I was trying to figure out how to stop that. And I realized, you know what? You're beating a dead horse. Just go ahead and get 90% of it. And if 10% of it stays in the saw, once a year, take the 4 screws out of the back of the saw, clean it out, and just go with it. You're better off, in that respect. So next up, I got to get the saw back on top of this base, and it was it was a bear by myself getting it off the base, so this ought to be fun. I'll keep you guys posted. Next shot may be from traction in the hospital, but I will keep you posted. Well, I'm pretty happy overall. What I did on the back of my saw, let me get around here and I'll show you. Here's the back of the saw, and I just put a piece of 1/4-inch MDF in here, and the reason why is there used to be a port there that the sawdust came out of, and you can see it broke off. That's kind of one of the reasons, one of the things that prompted me to do this. You can kind of see this blue foam here. What I did is I took a pool noodle and I split it, and then I shoved it up underneath the saw. And I need to push this in just a little bit more. And this basically is sealing those holes so that dust is not coming out underneath the saw. Inside the saw, I sealed all the bottom and everything. I've got airflow coming in from the top of the saw. I've got some airflow coming in here. It's not totally sealed. The corner's up underneath. You can kind of see some of that. There are air holes up there to let air in. I just limited the amount of airflow, so anything coming into the saw is going to help move the chips, hopefully, down into the receiver at the bottom that's going, for the dust collection, is going to pull them out. So I'm anxious to test this out and see how it works. what I've got to do is rig up, since I put that 4-inch connector on there, I've got a 4-inch to 2-inch adapter over there, but it's the exact same size. So I need to go up top and find myself a piece of that hose, that 4-inch hose that I can put on here. I'm going to have to use it with my shop vac temporarily because I still haven't got that thing working up there. I got it working, I just haven't piped it. But I'm hoping this makes a huge difference. I know I'm going to need some type of collection up on top of the table saw because off the back of the blade, it's going to bring chips back up. And I've looked at a few things on the internet. I think I'm going to probably look at reinstalling the blade guard. And number one, make it a little safer. But number two, with the blade guard, I might be able to get one that's got some a place for, you know, say my shop vac to hook to. I need to do a little research on the internet. But let me goof around here for a few more minutes and I'm going to fire this thing up and see how it works. Well, I just cut that board and I'm going to show you around the saw. Of course, on top of the saw, you get a little bit of dust up here that gets, like I mentioned earlier, thrown up by the back of the blade. But if we go down below the saw, there's no dirt or anything under it. It's looking pretty good. No dust on the floor, no dust. This was already here, trust me, it was, because that's sealed off. But there's no dust coming out from the saw. There's no cloud of dust in the air. It's kind of what I'm going after. I think once I can start using the dust collector as opposed to the shop vac, you'll see more of this dust from the top, probably going down into the saw. Another thing that I could probably do is build a zero clearance insert for this saw, which would again help. But I think what I need to do is a little bit of research to see if I can find the guard that goes over the blade. I've got one, but it doesn't have a vac port on it. See if I could find one with a vac port. And I'm not 100% worried about it because it's not all that much dust. But if it gets to be a problem, I think that's the way I'm going to go. So I'm really happy with this. Next up, I got to figure out what to do for the top of this saw. I think I'm going to go back and see if I can find Laney's video, rewatch it so I know what he did, and then I think I'm going to start working on the top of my saw. Well, I got the top of my saw cleaned up. I sanded it all down. If you want to know how I did this, go look at A Simple Design of Ocala. Laney Shaughnessy's got a video, and I just mocked exactly what he did. I didn't record this or anything. I'm not really recording today because this is just utilitarian stuff in the shop. But the tabletop has wax on it right now, and I'm waiting for that wax to haze so that I can buff it off. As soon as I buff it off, I got to go in and grab a shower. My shop time's coming to a close for today. My daughter is, she's played lacrosse, and she borrowed equipment to play the first time. And just to make sure she liked it, she didn't want to invest in the equipment. So now we're going out. I don't know that we'll buy the equipment tonight, but we're looking at equipment, trying to figure out what's the good stuff. You want to get her decent equipment. It doesn't have to be the most expensive stuff, but it has to be quality stuff. The stuff that's going to protect her. She needs to have the best quality, the best protection she can. So just trying to, look at sticks and helmets and mouthpieces and everything that goes with it. I don't know what all the gear is exactly, and then my wife wants to go grab a bite to eat somewhere because we haven't been out in a while. So I told him as soon as this wax dries, I'm buffing it off and I'll come in and grab a shower. So I'm calling it quits, man. It's been a great day. I've got a lot of stuff I've wanted to get done, taken care of. And maybe I'll be back out tomorrow or Monday and work on some of these blanks I got back here. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.